Breaking news! The Denver Broncos received some great news in the last few hours. If this really happens, Sean Payton's team could get a big boost for next season. I'll tell you all the details, but first I want to ask you a question. Do you think Bo Nix is a good quarterback? Does he deserve to stay with the Broncos next season? In my opinion, yes, he should stay. This kid is a key piece for us to get to the Super Bowl. If possible, write it like this: Go Broncos! Go Nix! Help us get to the Super Bowl. Now pay attention, Denver Broncos fans. We could be on the verge of something big. A play that could change everything for this offense. Picture this: Bo Nix dropping back, scanning the field and firing a perfect strike to Cooper Kupp. Yes, you heard right. The former Super Bowl MVP, the same guy who torched defenses in 2021, might actually want to be a Denver Bronco. According to none other than Adam Schefter, Kupp is eyeing Denver as a possible landing spot. He named 3 teams in the mix: the Seahawks, Patriots, and Broncos, but then he dropped this bombshell: if Cooper Kupp had his way, I think he'd want to be in Denver. Let that sink in for a moment. This isn't just a random rumor. It's coming from one of the game's most well-connected insiders. And if true, it raises a ton of questions. How realistic is this? Is it even a good move for Denver? And most importantly, how much would it cost? First, let's talk about fit. The Broncos have been steadily building a contender, and Kupp's addition could be a game-changer. Denver was a playoff team last year, and with an already strong defense, adding a veteran like Kupp could be the missing piece to an offense looking to take that next step. We're talking about a team that has a fresh face under center in Bo Nix, who is surrounded by young and talented weapons like Courtland Sutton, Marvin Mims, and Troy Franklin. Add Kupp to that mix, suddenly, Denver has a receiving core that can keep up with the best in the league. But let's pump the brakes for a second, because while Kupp is a household name, we can't ignore the elephant in the room: his injuries. This isn't 2021 anymore. That was the season he torched the league, leading in receptions, yards, and touchdowns on his way to a Super Bowl MVP. Since then, though, he's missed 10 games in the past 2 seasons, and his ability to create separation has taken a hit. We're not talking about a 25-year-old in his prime. We're talking about a player who's now on the wrong side of 30 with a history of lower body injuries. So, here's the real debate. Broncos country, is Cooper Kupp worth the investment? If Denver can get him for the right price, say, around $8 million a year for something like 800 yards and 8 touchdowns, it might be a no-brainer. That's still solid production from a receiver who knows what it takes to win on the biggest stage. But what if he wants more? What if he's looking for $12 to $15 million? That's where things get tricky. Denver has cap space, but does it really make sense to tie up that much money in a receiver who might miss a good chunk of the season due to injuries? Especially when the team already has young, promising talent in Mims and Vickers, plus the reliable presence of Sutton. And then there's the competition. The Patriots can offer him a clear WR1 role and a chance to be the focal point of their offense. The Seahawks? They're an intriguing option. Kupp has a history with the Pacific Northwest, and if there's any part of him that wants to get revenge on the Rams twice a year for cutting him, Seattle makes a lot of sense. Plus, playing alongside Jackson Smith-Njigba could make that offense dangerous. So now, the ball is in Sean Payton's court. We know this team is looking to take the next step. We know they want to surround Bo Nix with weapons, but we also know they've already brought in playmakers, including a big addition at tight end with Evan Ingram. So the question is, how much is too much for a 31-year-old receiver who has struggled with injuries? That's where you come in, Broncos country. What do you think? Should Denver go all in and bring in Cooper Kupp if the price is right? Or is it too big of a risk given his injury history? Let me know in the comments below. And let's not forget the financial side of things, because this is where it really gets interesting. Denver does have some cap space to work with, but how much are they really willing to invest in a veteran receiver? If Kupp is looking for a deal north of $10 million per year, is that the best way for the Broncos to spend their money right now? It's a tough question. Here's the thing. If you could guarantee the 2021 version of Cooper Kupp, the guy who led the league in receptions, yards, and touchdowns, this wouldn't even be a debate. You'd hand him the contract, and Broncos country would be celebrating in the streets. But reality isn't that simple. Injuries have piled up, and when you watch the tape, you can see that he's lost a step. He's not quite the same dynamic playmaker who torched defenses en route to a Super Bowl ring. And in this league, once your athleticism starts to fade, it's tough to get it back. So, let's say the Broncos do make the move. What does that mean for the current receiver room? Courtland Sutton has been rock solid over the last 2 years, and he's still under contract. Marvin Mims showed a ton of promise late last season, and Denver just added Troy Franklin to the mix. Plus, they signed Evan Ingram to give Bo Nix a reliable target at tight end. Could Kupp thrive in a system that already has some established pass catchers? Or would he struggle to stand out like he would in New England, where he'd be the undisputed #1 target? Now, let's talk about fit. One thing is for sure, Kupp and Bo Nix could be a very interesting pairing. We all know Kupp thrives in the slot, and that's a role where he wouldn't have much competition in Denver. He'd be a security blanket for Nix, a guy who can be counted on to move the chains and make the tough catches when it matters most. Think about what Sean Payton was able to do with Michael Thomas in New Orleans. He loves those elite route runners who can get open in the middle of the field. Kupp, even at 31, still fits that mold. And if there's anyone who can help him stay productive, it's Sean Payton. But there's also another angle here. Maybe, just maybe, Sean Payton wants to make a statement. The Broncos have been on the outside looking in for far too long. They got a taste of success last season, but in this league, you're either getting better or getting left behind. If Payton wants to prove that this team is ready to compete with the best of the best, what better way to show it than by bringing in a proven winner? What better way to show that Bo Nix is the guy than by surrounding him with as much talent as possible? That being said, there's a price for everything. And when it comes to Kupp, the question isn't just about whether he makes the Broncos better. He does. It's about how much you're willing to pay for that improvement. At the right number, say, $8 million for a solid 800 yards and 8 touchdowns, this could be a great move. But if Kupp wants top-end money, that's where things get tricky. Should Denver bet on his health and hope he can return to his 2021 form? Or should they focus on the young core they're building and let someone else take that risk? And here's the thing, Broncos country, this decision isn't just about 2024. It's about what this move would mean for the team's future. Is signing Cooper Kupp a short-term play to accelerate Bo Nix's development? Or does it signal something bigger, a win-now mentality from Sean Payton and the front office? Because let's be real, Kupp is not a long-term solution. At 31, his best years are probably behind him. But if Denver believes that this team is on the verge of becoming a serious contender, maybe adding a veteran receiver with championship pedigree is exactly what they need. It's a risk, but high-risk moves can come with high rewards. Think back to when the Rams traded for Matthew Stafford. That move was a gamble, but it paid off with a Lombardi trophy. Now, let's talk about fit. One concern here is target share. In New England, Kupp would be the unquestioned WR1. In Seattle, he'd have a chance to be a major piece of the offense with DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith-Njigba. But in Denver, that's where it gets interesting. Courtland Sutton has been a rock for this team over the last couple of seasons, and he's still under contract. Marvin Mims is coming off an impressive rookie campaign, and they just added Troy Franklin, a guy Nix has built great chemistry with. So, where exactly does Kupp fit? Does he become a primary weapon for Nix? Or does he share too much of the workload to truly make the kind of impact we expect from a signing like this? And let's not overlook the money. There's no doubt that Kupp would bring experience, elite route running, and a proven track record to Denver. So here's the real question, Broncos country, do you want the team to go all in and make this move? Do you see Kupp as a must-have weapon for Bo Nix? Or do you think the Broncos should roll with the guys they already have? Let's hear it in the comments. Would you take Kupp for the right price? Or should Denver let him go elsewhere? Let's talk about it. Go Broncos!